and hopefully we get some people to join us as we go here. Most of the agenda, as people saw, were items that Ashley was going to discuss with us and how we were going to move forward. And as I said to you before, unfortunately, Ashley is tied up tonight. So, you know, that leaves a very open agenda. And I know that Brian had some things that he may have wanted to discuss moving forward, and some ideas. Before we get to that, I'm just looking at the agenda now. I'm thinking, did everybody get a chance to read the minutes that were sent out by Amy?
No.
Okay.
No.
Then what we'll do is this. Did you get them, first of all?
I
don't
did
think
not.
so.
All right. So what we'll do is this. I will make sure they get forwarded to everybody, and then we'll do them in bulk at our next meeting and approve them that way. I probably should have not assumed that Amy was sending them to everybody. She may have just sent it to me and expected me to send it out, which is fine. But I clearly didn't get that message and didn't think to do it. So having only 5 members anyway, I'll send it out to everybody, and we'll vote the minutes in bulk at the next meeting, if that's okay with everybody else. It's pretty straightforward. And other than that, you know, we had an update from Ashley, and I think the discussion about supporting the businesses through the fall, I think we can have that discussion if people have ideas. I think that unless people know of businesses that are specific businesses that are struggling, the impression I'm getting is that Walpole is doing a decent job from a community standpoint of getting out and patronizing these businesses, but also from a town standpoint in enabling the businesses to do the best they can by knocking down some potential roadblocks and some red tape to make things happen. And I think that's still happening. So that's all good news. Does anyone see or feel anything differently along those lines?
Mark, I'll just say from, being in a family that owns a restaurant business, my concern isn't the roadblocks that are being taken down today that are helping them. We've got 6-7 months ahead where it's going to get cold and people are going to struggle to eat outside, to serve outside, bad weather. And we're now into this for quite a while where people are getting used to not going inside and concerned to go inside, and I get all that. And my worry is for these businesses that are restaurants, they might be okay today because they've managed and pivoted a little bit. What happens to them in the next 6 months when their revenues probably are less than they are today?
That's a very good point, Brian. And it's interesting because my wife and I just had this discussion. We were going to head out to Raven's Nest, and I said, "Oh, let's sit outside." And she said, no, I'll freeze. And in my head, I'm saying, well, I like the weather right now. I like it crisp, but yeah, that's a real concern. If they don't open up the restrictions, and kind of pull back the restrictions on how many you can have inside. But that ain't going to happen tomorrow, in my opinion. It could. But, I think that they're afraid to pull the trigger on that, although the data changes literally every day as to what, government restrictions or lack of restrictions, which one is more effective, whether you're more effective in lockdown or more effective in opening up and having herd immunity. That's not our position to discuss which is right or wrong, but my point being is that I guess with the information coming from the CDC changing so often, we don't really know what the next step is going to be. They could open up these restaurants tomorrow, but Brian, to your point, are people going to feel comfortable about going?
Yeah. The other part of it is I've watched my family's business, my wife's family's business, make it through with curbside pickup. They never opened their dining room, even though it was allowed. And so, is there anything the town can be doing for any of these restaurants that might need more curbside space to allow for more pickup once the bad weather comes and there's snow on the ground and there's this and that? What can we do to encourage the residents of the town to support the local restaurants with even just curbside pickup?
That's a good thought, and that's definitely something that should be thought about now. So I'm glad you brought it up, and your experience with your family's business is helpful in that respect. Something that a lot of us probably don't think about is, what happens when there's snowbanks and less parking that's available even now. How do we support the restaurants to still have the ability to do this? So I'm just jotting down some notes.
Yeah, and I think it's the promotion of it too, that
Right.
that our citizens know the places that are available for pickup, curbside pickup, so it's on their mind. And I don't know if our website could list all of the restaurants that are available for curbside pickup, particularly as the weather gets worse. Even if people are afraid to go out to dinner, they don't want to cook every night, so they're still going to want to maybe get something and bring it home and eat it and maybe we could figure out a way to promote better, more consistently, for all of those places that are offering it.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Let me let's figure out how that can be done. There's only a few ways to do it, and I think the restaurants will be on top of that as well individually. I have a concern that, and I could be way off on this because you're right, people don't want to cook every night, but I think with one of the unintended consequences of all of this craziness is that people are starting to realize that they don't necessarily have to eat out as much as they usually do. It almost felt like back when I was a kid, when eating out was rare as opposed to 2-3 times a week, 4 times a week, like it is now. Do we feel like there's any risk involved with people starting to get a little nose blind, if you will, about the issues because I feel like a lot of these restaurants are being supported by people who care about supporting them. And I'm wondering if there's obstacles like cold weather and snow and whatnot, that they might get a little like, well, you know what? I want to help these restaurants out, but I'm not going to go anywhere, and start to get a little complacent about purposely going out to help the restaurants as opposed to purposely going out because they want to go out to eat. Am I making sense?
Yeah. So I can speak to that too. In my wife's case, their business didn't have delivery before. They did curbside pickup, but they added in Grubhub and Slice. And that's now 25 to 30% of their business in a given week is that delivery component, so that the citizen doesn't have to leave their home. And I don't know if we have any sort of a relationship with the local Grubhub, area or Slice, but they can be tough to deal with. They're growing so fast. But those and I don't know if all these restaurants are aware, have gone through the process of vetting it out and offering it, but the customer is savvy, and they know about all these options, and they're using them because these organizations are growing rapidly.
This is a dumb question, Brian, and hopefully you can answer. Do restaurants, are they required to have exclusivity if they sign up with Grubhub or one of the competitors, or can they just sign up with everybody?
You can sign up with whoever you want.
So, and I'm sure that, has anybody seen a price increase? Because I'm sure that these services either do it by the delivery or do it by a percentage or however it works. But has anybody seen an increase either in the cost or a decrease in the profits because of using these services?
There's an increase in profits. The increase in the price is, I believe, from the delivery service to the consumer.
Correct.
So the restaurant is still selling the pizza at the retail price.
So the consumer is paying the delivery fee.
Correct.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Well, maybe we should do some sort of an informational piece both online and maybe an email blast to a lot of the restaurants. Just and most of them will already know, but for the some that don't, give them a roadmap to Grubhub and all that. Just
my thought is they really didn't need it over the summer because people were looking to get out and did that.
Right,
but
and looking to help.
Yeah, and so now as this transitions, I thought I'd bring it up.
No, I think it's a great idea, and I think that giving them a reminder as to how to prepare for the bad weather by using these delivery services, and maybe we could get some contacts for them. Again, I'm sure that they've all been approached by the sales teams from these companies, but everybody's doing it now, so I'm sure that they're going to want to reach out to Grubhub and the like, because they're just not going to have time to get back to them all the time. So maybe we could do something like that, but that's a great idea. I think that'll solve a lot of the problem. It might be my age, but I tend to think that I'm at least somewhat online savvy. And I can't tell you how many times I don't feel like cooking, but I also don't feel like going out to grab something,
So have you ever used Grubhub or Uber Eats?
I've used Uber Eats, and that's the only one I've used, and it was great. But then I just don't think of it again. It's not part of my everyday thing. But people my son's age, mid-20s, that's all they do. They don't know anything else, and so I think getting some of these restaurants, putting out a roadmap to surviving the winter, maybe. And with some ideas, including who to contact for these services, what to expect, what the town will do for them, creating spaces in front, even if there's weather, even if there's snowbanks, we're going to create this for you so it's seamless. Maybe just doing an overview of what to expect for the winter months for these restaurants would be helpful for them, and contacts to Grubhub and everything else. If anybody has
Harry, do we have a master list of our master email list for the restaurants in town?
Pretty much.
Yeah. So we can get to them pretty fast if we have to, right?
Yeah, I don't have a lot of the national chain stuff up on Route 1, but most of the local people.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we don't
just like to go on Brian's point back to Ashley and the town is, November is going to be back like March is. So when this first dropped, the town was very active promotionally. The EDC was, they were very active, and I think they need to get back active in whether it be promotion, promoting these restaurants or reminding people are still there, or we're no longer sitting outside, and try to get some promotion going, in order to, continue to support, these folks, at 30%, 40%, it's going to be a long winter for folks, but, people will go out in the cold to eat, they'll go out in the cold to pick up food. I think the town did a good job, with the pickup areas in front of, Raven's Nest and Tessie, and trying to make that easy. It's just that, that those reminders to people that, may not have used that, we're open for business. We continue to be open for business. And, I think, to an extent, that's what the town can do, right? The restaurants will sign up with Uber Eats or Grubhub and do their things, or do their own deliveries if they care to. But I think, that's, we should be pushing for, more promotional activities about downtown.
Yeah, I agree, Kevin. That's a great point, because I do feel a little sense of complacency right now in the consumers. You know, people love getting out because now we're, you know, like even down here on Route 1 at Beacons,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that's a pretty active scene out there at night. They have musicians, they've
Yep.
got the tents and lights and everything else, and it looks cool, but what's going to happen in a month? And so I agree with the premise that we can't allow the complacency to set in and then have it be too late once everything stops. So that's a great idea, and I think I'll send a note to Ashley that, you know, maybe we could get a plan together with the town as to exactly where these curbside pickup areas are going to be for each individual restaurant, and then get a commitment out of them to keep it clear throughout the winter, regardless of the problem, that becomes a priority, you know, regardless of the weather, that becomes a priority in an effort to work with these business owners to make sure that they can make it through. I specifically said business owners. Does anybody have any insight or knowledge to any struggling businesses out there that are not restaurants? Because I always worry about overlooking, you know, any kind of group of businesses that we might not be interested in yet because we just haven't thought of it. But, you know, are salons still having trouble? Is there any other group of businesses that we might want to look at to see if there's a way that we can help them that go beyond just restaurants?
Just speaking for myself through my family, I think, you know, I'm not sure how much money, you know, what the salons are doing, but they're all open and active and working within the same regulations, whether they're, you know, 50% revenue down or, you know, 20% revenue down. They've, you know, pretty much have reopened. I know there's some, you know, the florist up near me next to Family Pizzeria, he chose not to, you know, reopen or renew his lease, and the hair salon there chose not to. I'm not sure if we have numbers in the town of people who have now chosen not to renew, or, you know, or is there an active, you know, you don't know who's up next. But I think
Right.
the businesses I've, you know, frequented, you know, people are going in and out. You know, is it as much as, you know, as much as the regulations allows them, I guess.
Harry, have you heard of any members of your group that are struggling more than others, or something we should look at that, you know, from that standpoint, from the chamber?
No, not really. I'm seeing more of a return back to old school business mentality. So we've seen an uptick in new membership with the Walpole Chamber. Most people are starting to get it in regard to it starts about supporting the community first and other businesses through your membership, and then word of mouth spreads. You meet people, you get to know people, get to know, like, and trust people, and people start inquiring about your business and want to do business with you. Most of the restaurants, most of the salons, everybody seems to be doing fairly well now. I mean, they're not record profits, but I bet they're paying their bills and putting a little bit in their pocket. A couple places that you mentioned, like the florist, I think a lot of people at the older age bracket just said enough's enough and went off and retired. I know
Correct.
the florists, you know, a lot of them just said, all right, this is the perfect time to just exit at this point because of their age.
Right.
The baseline that they would compare to is probably should be moving up with all of these people moving into the new apartment developments.
Right.
I see a lot of cars in the one across from Blessed Sacrament Church, and people are starting to move in at the old Forge building. So, you know, their business presumably would be up if it wasn't for the virus.
Right. So, and I appreciate the, you know, the talking about the information part of it as far as using some of these restaurants and the to-go services, but and I think that'd be fine. But I think, you know, if most people don't understand the fact that you can call and pick up your order and get it delivered, I don't know what you're thinking. I mean, it's pretty simple. I think the real heart of the discussion, though, is almost to the point of boycott Amazon and Grubhub and the rest of those places, and call your local place directly. Email your local place directly. They have to still pay. They do pay a premium for using those services, and they also have. If you look around, when you go and get a pizza now or a hamburger, you're paying $12, $14. So all the prices are up based on the pass through of additional costs and the pass through of people are trying to just get back on their feet. So I would like to see more of a message of, you know, boycott the Amazons and the Grubhubs, shop local, you know, work with your local business person, and try to stress that part of it. Somehow.
That's not a bad idea. Let me interject one thing before we stay on that. I think Margaret just got on. Margaret, do you go by Margaret or Meg?
Meg, call me Meg.
Okay.
Sorry,
Emails.
I just saw the emails now. I didn't realize there was a meeting tonight, so I'm a little behind. So.
Oh, no worries. I just wanted to welcome you, and we're glad to see you. And if you want to just spend 30 seconds or 15 seconds, whatever, and just introduce yourself to everybody, and then yeah, we'll just keep moving from there.
Sure. Meg Kundert. I have been living in Walpole for 25 years now. I live over on Plimpton Street in a renovated barn. I am an architect. Been doing that forever. You can see the wrinkles. And I'm very interested in this group and how we can help to keep Walpole vital, I guess.
Great. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. That was, we missed you at the last meeting, but I know that you had
I was away.
Yeah, but you know what? We all have to get out of here every once in a while. So I'll tell you, Danelle, good to see you.
Thank you. How are you?
Good.
Late, had an appointment.
No worries. So I think it's just John, right, that we don't have. And I'm wondering if there was just I know that we got the word, like the agenda and whatnot, sent out last week. What I fear is that it was, you know, for the new members, Meg and John, just not used to checking for that email. And that, so I'll make sure that things come out multiple times just until people start getting into the flow of, you know, the second Tuesday type thing. But it has been a while.
Second Tuesday, what? Second Tuesday meeting?
Second Tuesday of each month is the scheduled meeting for the EDC meeting.
Okay.
But if it changes from that, you'll definitely know. But if not, then
okay,
that is the day.
Okay, I'll put that in the calendar. Yeah. Okay.
So Harry, having said that, Harry, I don't know if I disagree with you on that at all, because, you know, we want the small local businesses to stay vital. The word boycott worries me a little bit.
I love the extremes of it, but yeah, the message has to be delivered, of course, a little softer, but, you know, focus on local businesses, forget about the rest of the world is what I like to say.
Yeah, I think we can find and I was being a little bit facetious there, because I've known you a long time. I know that, you know, we don't want to go out and say, hey, boycott Texas Roadhouse go to jalapenos. We want to say, hey, you know, jalapenos is, you know, let's support our local people and leave it at that. I think people will understand. But yeah.
Well, and again, it's not even the national. I'm not even suggesting that it's like the national restaurant chains, because, you know, if you go up to Texas Roadhouse, then you might be walking into Walpole Mall and hitting one of those local businesses in there too, because it's like a chain. What do they call it? I don't know.
Anchor store.
Anchor store, correct. So, you know,
I hear you.
I'd love to see more self-owned development up along Route 1, but it hasn't happened yet. But again, still, you you drive up to Taco Bell, and next thing you know, you're stopping at the veterinarian or the feed store.
Mhm.
You're doing things up there, so there is local money that still comes in that way.
Yeah. No, that's
But my message as far as how we could deliver the message, you know, you've seen it all before. Shop local. Every $5 spent, $2 to $3, it actually stays within the community, blah, blah, blah. So that, I think, should be the continued message moving forward.
Yeah, I don't disagree at all.
And just so I'll make my little chamber announcement thing, we are revitalizing the banner program starting at this point. So all the banners downtown are going to be lengthened just a touch to give a little bit more bang as far as the eyes are concerned, as far as seeing who the business are that are down there. We're going to be changing them over 3 times a year versus 2. We're going to be doing a holiday theme starting in November, running through February, March, and then a spring theme, and then probably June through September, it's going to be more of an American theme, whether it's a flag type of thing or red, white, and blue type of aspect.
Hey, Harry, when you say you're going to be changing them 3 times as opposed to 2, does a firm buy the entire year and then you change the banners, or do you restart your sales process and maybe get an entirely new group of companies to come in for each section of that?
It starts out as a 2-year run. $9.95 gets you a full 2 years and 3 banners that are turned, you know, every year. So you're going to see, you know, first year 3 different banner turns, and then the second year the same banners will be put up. The banners only last about 2 years with the wind and the weather. So yeah, that's what we do.
So for $500 a year, a company gets 3 different banners, 3 refreshes, and that's a bargain.
Yeah, we should be charging more, but it puts a little money in our pocket as far as the chamber goes, but it's more about the businesses and making the downtown look nice.
Yeah.
We've had a real hard time with the weather, though. I'll tell you, those things don't last, but it looks like it's going to be even better this year. We've got a couple more new businesses, some nice placements like Crisp. The Oddfellows want one now, above Deluxe Tux. Anyway, so I'm just trying to get that. And again, we're really trying to rejuvenate downtown for the holiday season too. So that's why I'm going with the holiday theme. And we're working with Downtown Destination Group, where we're going to be lighting up the the Walpole Common where the gazebo is.
Mhm.
We've had the town generously ran electric all along that common now. So we're going to be lighting up all the tree trunks and kind of making it a winter wonderland on that section of the downtown. So we're going to try to, you know, attract more people to come down and take pictures for themselves and then use the local businesses.
That's great.
Not sure if you saw the arts and crafts little fair that we had about 2 weekends ago.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. How did that go?
It went fairly well. I mean, when I looked around that part of the common, I would say at most at any time we had about 60 or 70 people. We were trying to count to kind of make sure the numbers stayed okay. But after talking to the police and some other people, we were more concerned about how many people were surrounding one tent per se, or one booth. But everybody did the right thing. The bands were good. I kept thinking about, oh my God, downtown, Main Street Live, we probably could have done something, but it was a tough thing to try to swallow in August, But I think that's where it's at, continually trying to focus our residents on spending their dollars with our local businesses, continually trying to focus on the gatherings downtown, one way or the other, get people down there, they'll spend their money, and keep pushing that as much as we can based on the COVID rules.
Yeah, agreed. I'm glad to hear that event went well. Speaking of holidays and the decorations, Danelle, now that the group that was formerly putting up, the Santa Claus and all the different displays, I know Rich was doing a lot of that, right? Rich Shields?
No, I think, the Christmas stuff, Beth probably has a better input into, but like the Santa Claus parade,
Yeah,
that type
yeah.
of, that's kind of Beth. Beth kind of runs that. And
Okay.
then maybe she can chime in on that. She's there.
Are we still
And-
trying to string Santa Claus across the street this year?
Oh, I don't know. I assume they're gonna do the same thing that they've been doing for the last couple of years. Are you talking about trying to get a new pole system up in front of the old police station?
I don't know. I just know that when I was a kid, that Santa Claus used to go right across Main Street. I think it should still do that. But
No, they won't allow us to put anything across Main Street for whatever reason. Norwood gets away with it, but we have too many municipal vehicles are running down Main Street, and they have no detour. So, the fire ladder truck or whatever, I'd love to see it, but the town won't let us do it. But so the Santa parade and the Christmas tree lighting is all pulled off through the Walpole Chamber, through the Walpole, the Chamber Christmas Committee, that Beth pretty much is the part of steering. Lindsay Rockwood is also on there, Erin Thomas, and we've also brought in Downtown Destination to help out as well for this year, and be a part of that other part of the common. But yeah, we're gonna be lighting the Christmas tree and doing everything we usually do. We just haven't heard any official word on, when Santa comes and meets all the children and everybody goes crazy. That's jam-packed down there. And not sure yet how we're going to try to pull that off. At the very least, we're going to light the tree. We're going to have all the lights up. I would assume as things then progress, you can always go up and see Santa still on an individual basis. And as far as the Santa parade, the day after Thanksgiving, the Saturday after Thanksgiving, I would assume you'd be able to pull that off too. Outside, it should be fine.
Can you guys hear me?
we can now.
Oh, okay, sorry. As for what Harry's talking about, I had a conversation with Patrick Shields, and that's going to be waiting up until the last minute if any of this is going to take place.
Are they saying they don't think it will? Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I had to get I've already started Christmas already, and I had to make sure that I reached out to Patrick to see, if we're going to be able to do it or what have you. And he said more than likely, probably not. But he said we'll probably wait. We could, if it's the case that we may be able to have something done, we could probably have Santa. But as for the parade and the tree lighting, that probably will not happen because we have to plan for that.
That's too bad.
Yeah, it's too bad.
Beth, are you coming to our meeting tomorrow night?
I am.
Okay, so we'll discuss more of that.
Yeah, and I still, just in regards to the trees being lit, the gentleman I had a contact from Eversource, And the gentleman that I was supposed to, I called, he's now moved to a different division, and now there's another gentleman that I have to reach out to. So hopefully Eversource can be in with the downtown, with that group and our group, in the chamber to help beautify with the lights for the holidays.
All right, and Jim Johnson said the town is ready to help us too, so.
Yep, that's great.
That's great. Those are steps in the right direction. I think the downtown, at least the way it looks, is going to be really nice this year, and I think that's going to be helpful when all the new residents downtown take a look outside and see what the holidays can look like. It's just gonna create a an environment of getting out and doing things, even when it's cold. And people are going to want to take walks at night. They're going to want to go to the restaurants.
Yep.
So I think I think it all works together, and that destination downtown group's done a great job in trying to bring all that together. So that's great news. All right. Well, we did have a light agenda, and we missed obviously Ashley's update.
Can I talk about something open forum style?
Absolutely.
What are our thoughts about the town meeting vote regarding the parking situation in South Walpole? I mean, I feel that on the Walpole Chamber side, local businesses up there along Route 1 have done or had the opportunity to use their lots to generate income. And we're kind of taking a revenue stream potentially away or diverting some of that to South Walpole local neighbors, if that's the case, if they're going to be permitted parking. I just don't understand the reality of why this bill is being placed on the warrant, because other than a money grab for fees and permitting fees, where's the positivity for this? I don't understand it. Brian, have you looked into it any further?
Well, I just read what was in the warrant, and I actually have a connection to someone up there who has benefited in the past from parking cars on their yard. And as I read it, well, if I'm correct, they've been banned from doing it or limited, and now they can at least pay a permit fee and get some of that revenue back. I think they have to work with the town on the size of the area and how many cars can fit safely. So I don't know if we have, as a town meeting member, I'd rather say yes to it than no, because my fear is if no, will they be able to park any cars at all?
Harry, how does it relate to the area businesses? Just make that connection for me so I understand.
So again, if you're a local business owner or a land property owner up on Route 1, you've without a doubt been able to enjoy an additional revenue stream if you choose to get out on a Sunday or a Saturday night for a concert and monitor and manage your lot and charge for parking.
How's that changing though?
Huh?
And that's going to change if they vote yes on this?
Well, it's just going to now it's going to make every resident in South Walpole, if you're within that mapping, a small business owner now that's going to charge on their lot. So you're going to take money away from the local businesses and put the money into the local neighborhood. Now, I'm not saying that I'm for or against either one of them, but as economic development goes and the Walpole Chamber goes, our stance would have to be no, because we're trying to protect local businesses.
Weren't they all doing it anyway, and now the town is just trying to regulate what the private residences can do?
That's my don't tread on me aspect of that is it's been going on for years and since the 60s. All right. Why is it all of a sudden that something needs to change? Of course, they're going to say safety. Well, I don't know where the hell safety is going to come up out of this. You know, we've always been paying our police officers to patrol up on the corner of South Walpole to try to get the traffic flow to work a little bit better. And I think we've always had some volunteer firefighters stationed at the old fire station there in case something were to happen. The reality is we have some trash that we have to deal with and some obnoxious individuals every once in a while, but I think everybody up here in South Walpole is fine with that. And they also understand that, the traffic is the traffic. There's no way that will change. You either get out early in the morning and get back to your house, or you just decide to stay in your house for a couple hours. I just think it's government overreach on a private level, and it's just a money grab to put more additional revenue in town hall. But on the other side of it, I'm against it because of the business part of it. So you're hurting the local businesses,
Well, I think that, and this is just my opinion, but Harry, you know where I fall on this kind of thing. I fly the "don't tread on me" flag myself. But if, I would hate to see this be the only avenue for them to continue doing what they're doing. If someone votes no on that, then they may not be able to get that revenue at all until somebody decides to fight town hall. And that's a long process. I don't think ideological, political views go quickly enough to help these people out in South Walpole that have been making money doing this every year. So while I agree with you philosophically, for sure, I don't know enough about the warrant article to say whether or not, if a no vote happens, that then the answer is no for all of this. I think those people up there would rather, given the option, pay a fee and be able to still park on their properties, which those words even coming out of my mouth. But if that's the reality that we're living in today, we can fight that battle later on. But if that's the reality that we're living in today, Brian might be right. Brian, this might be the only way that they can continue doing what they're doing, and then fight the battle later on.
If that's the case, Brian, what are the fees? What are the rules? What are the regulations? There's nothing in that article that states
the fees. The warrant doesn't obviously. Yeah, the warrant doesn't get into the fees. That'll be brought up at town meeting. But there's no tailgating, for example. It's not like some of the other parking lots closer to the stadium where you can pull out your tent and your barbecue and have a full-on fun. It's supposed to be park your car and walk to the game, more of an atmosphere, and for people who want that atmosphere. So those questions are going to come up at town meeting, and they'll come up as to, if we vote no on this,